to hide the main screen. Welcome to Live. I am your host, Joe, and we are here for another special edition of DevHub Live. And today, at a unique time we normally are at, because we have a very special episode that I'm super excited about related to the hackathon that's been going on. All that information is down below. If you haven't already been part of this, it is closing in a couple days. But I am very honored to have some great guests here to talk all about the hackathon and do some actual what's going on with some of the different pitching, things like that. I don't want to waste any time, and I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right to it. I'm going to first bring up one of the runners of the actual hackathon, Maria, and my colleagues here at DevHub. Maria, thanks for coming on and bringing this to us. Definitely a lot of exciting stuff happening with this hackathon.
Thank you for letting us hijack the DevHub Live again. I'm actually, it's like countdown to New Year. I'm looking at the hackathon page, and we have, what do we have? 1,956 participants. So we like 54 participants away from 44 participants away from 2,000. And I'm really like, yes, go for it. It's going to be our biggest hackathon, I think, since MetaBuild 1. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing all the submissions.
Awesome. So today is a kind of a different episode than we've done before around the hackathon. Can you talk us a little bit through like what we're going to do today?
So today we're going to talk about the submissions, because the submission deadline for this hackathon is on March 2nd. So we're going to talk about the structure of the hackathon page. I'm going to share some best practices. We also invited some esteemed guests. We invited Slava, Jarrod from Aurora, who is the esteemed hackathon judge. I think he's been judging 5 of our hackathons, or maybe even more. So he knows a thing or two on how to do a great demo of a great product. And we also invited Jarrod from Founder Success team at New York Foundation here. And Jarrod's going to share best practices regarding the pitching the product. I know that hackathon stage projects are not exactly eligible for pitching in front of the investors, but we always appreciate when teams are looking forward and they are thinking about what's next for them. And for those teams who are already thinking about the future, who want to build further, we will share some best practices to help them put their best foot forward while submitting the project.
Awesome. So let's not waste any more time here, and let's bring up our awesome guests. So we have Jarrod and we have Slava. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hello.
Jarrod, are you in this Denver now? How's the vibes? What have you seen? How was the Agent Games Day?
Well, hey folks, yes, Maria, I am live here at East Denver, so much so that I could not find a quiet place. I'm actually calling in from my rental car on my mobile hotspot. Shout out to technology working well today, but really great to be here. East Denver, despite what's happening in the market, has been great energy and a lot of fun so far. So thank you all for having me.
Thank you for coming, Slava. I've heard that Aurora is launching some crazy meme points and giving out virtual chains like nobody's business. So how the things going in your ecosystem right now?
Yeah, good. Also been preparing a lot. You hear me, right?
Yeah. We do hear you.
Great. Also been preparing a lot to the East Denver. Prepared all together with Vadim Zavodil from Near Ecosystem, the demo for the AI agents using the Near Intents on Monday, and also the video demo of how you can easily launch your own EVM chain on top of Near protocol with Aurora Cloud Console on Tuesday. So Alex Shevchenko has already presented them at the stage, I believe.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I'm in Europe right now. I know that Joe is in America, but not in East Denver right now. So we have major FOMO, you guys. Just enlighten us how things are going and help our hackers to reach this point where they cannot go back from shipping amazing stuff. They can only move forward. So I would like to talk a little bit about the page structure when people who are about to submit on March 2nd are actually supposed to submit. And I would like to share some best practices from our previous hackathons, which is redacted. We hosted in Bangkok, but people were able to hack a little bit before the main event, so they had more time to prepare. In this case, they also had some time to prepare. It was 6 weeks of hacking. So if I may share my screen, I'm going to show how it looked like before. So this is the page of a project called Batvex. It actually won the Redacted Hackathon. It's a native track winner, first place, and they also won the Hacker Choice nomination. So I always set them as an example. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how the page is supposed to be structured using this amazing example. So we see that the team chose the name for the project and also a tagline. A tagline is here to explain in 5 seconds or less what we're actually dealing with. So if we read this description, it's instantly understandable what's going on. So front and center of the page is actually demo. It's a YouTube video. In the demo, we usually include how the interface works. Sometimes they would include some screenshots. So if you just slide through that, you'll be able to see how Batvex actually looks like. And then how we suggest people structure the project page. It's actually quite easy if you do it through DevPost. When you set up your project page, it gives you a hint where to go and what to write. I would always suggest to start with problem statement. What kind of issue this particular project addresses. I think Jarrod will talk about a little bit more about that. But initially, what we want to see is not like, oh, I had this awesome idea, so I decided to build this hackathon project. We would like to see, oh, I see this imperfection in real world. I saw this use case that is not filled, the niche that is not filled by working solutions, so I decided to build this out. And then after the problem statement, we always offer to set the solution section. So as we can see on this example, it's really nicely structured. We have bullet points, how exactly this particular project addresses the problem statement that they mentioned. And then after that, they describe the scope of their work. So what's been done throughout this hackathon. Also a great section, super needed, project goals and future plans, because one of our judging criteria is project sustainability. It means will this project be able to survive outside of the hackathon when the hackathon ends, and what are actually the plans on making it profitable, and how the team is going to build it out. And then short and sweet, we always mention the tech which is built with. And by the way, right now you can claim a link drop that we issued specifically for this hackathon, but you can only claim it if you add near AI to the tech that's built, that's your project was built with. So most importantly, you have to add some links. So there is a GitHub repo. I'm going to open it and show it. It's not found because it's already closed and the hackathon is over. But for us, what matters throughout the judging period needs to be open. So for this particular project, it was open, but right now they are trying to build it out. So they keep building. So that's why they closed the repo, and that's okay. And we have a Vercel page, which is also not found, unfortunately, for this particular hackathon, but maybe I will find another example, for example, near yield. Let's see if for them it's open. And I hope it is. Yeah, now it is. So this is how your front end demo could look like. It's super useful for the judges if they can just click it and just click through and see if it works. So I think I can stop sharing now because I explained the quick structure. If you want this reference, you can always go to redacted.devpost.com and open the project gallery and see the pages of the winning project. But we have guests here that we can torture with some interesting questions. So I'm going to start with Jarrod. When pitching a project, how would you suggest to structure? What should be highlighted? What people should avoid? Like best and worst practices that you could describe?
It's a phenomenal question. And yeah, apologies, Maria. I also did have like 2 quick slides. Like if I'm able to flash it up, is that okay? Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Sorry. First time sharing screen on StreamYard. Okay. So folks, again, my name is Jarrod. I work as part of our founder success team. We actually have a whole suite of content around how to raise capital for your idea. So I'll make sure, Maria, Joe, I'll share this link with you all. But for folks who are interested, we put together last year a whole fundraising bootcamp. And the biggest thing, to answer your question directly, Maria, storytelling. Understand that this is not just words on a screen. You are trying to drive emotion and get people excited about what you are building. So if you're interested in this deck, we'll share a link out. It actually has kind of a whole framework of how to craft a compelling narrative, and a little bit of a primer on raising venture capital and what that looks like. I'm just going to jump to one or a couple slides right here. First, for any Star Wars fans, if you've ever seen this at the beginning of Star Wars movie, you know probably the emotion that you feel. That should be the same framing you think about when you're pitching your idea. What is the emotion? How is the story arc that you're putting together around your idea, right? As Maria mentioned, right, you gave that framework of problem, solution. Here's exactly what we're building, right, as well. You know, one of the kind of 3 frameworks that can be really, really strong to think about is, first, there might be what's called the hero's journey. These are just tactics to framing your idea and communicating the emotion that you have, right? You're essentially storytelling the origin of how you discovered the idea for your project, excuse me. Another way could be starting with what's called the customer's tale. That's where you don't actually talk about the product just yet. You talk about the core problem or the exact pain point that you're trying to solve. The last frame or approach could be what's called the industry point of view. This is more, hey, macro industry, here's kind of a shift of what's happening, whether that's in AI, whether that's in DeFi, whatever it is you're building, right? So these are just simple ways to frame the narrative in which you have. But the fundamental point, right, is at the end of the day, a great story has an arc that flows together, and you are that director, right? You're kind of the conductor of that story. And so just by choosing a framework to help yourself center, because there's so many things you could talk about, right? Like you spent probably 6, almost 8 weeks building, you could spend 20 minutes talking about what you've built. But to get people to feel that same emotion that you would feel when you see this, framing it in a couple of these are just options. There's a lot of ways you could do it. That can really, really help narrow your focus and heighten the impact of what you're sharing. So yeah, apologies, Maria, for jumping on the screen here, but we have a lot of content, and I think these are some of the things that we've seen great founders that have come through our programs and really in the near ecosystem do really, really well. So I know that's a lot of information, probably multiple questions, but hope that is helpful.
No, thank you. It's actually awesome, and if we can put the link here to your presentation on the screen, Jarrod, you can put in the chat, and I think Joe and I we will be able to show it to the hackers. So I actually have a practical question. So autonomous agents in it itself is a little bit harder to explain, especially to the audience outside of Web3 AI bubble. So maybe you could give us a master class of a project that you've recently seen, maybe some useful AI agent that you would be willing to use. How would you actually pitch that?
Sorry,
I'm afraid to mute.
Yeah, sorry. That's a great question. So, and Joe, I'll drop this in the chat too, so hopefully you can share. One of the projects that have actually come through one of our near accelerator programs is a project called QuestFlow. They are essentially a decentralized agent orchestration framework. That is a mouthful. Essentially, they enable a lot of different agents to collaborate in a decentralized way. And what's really powerful about what QuestFlow does is they're actually very pointed towards productivity workflows. And you're able to do everything from scheduling your calendar to automating any perhaps even bills that you have, to automating even any of the day-to-day tasks you have. They have a large suite of integrations on GitHub, on Notion, on anything that you would actually plug in your day-to-day is what they do. And they're able to orchestrate that in a decentralized way. To your point, Maria, in how do you pitch that? What does that actually mean? Well, the thing that QuestFlow started with was, what's actually the problem you're trying to solve? The problem is it's quite a high barrier to entry to build this army of agents that works on your behalf. That's a great idea in theory, but how do you actually decrease that barrier to entry and make it available and accessible for everyday people? And so the solution that QuestFlow has built is everything I just described in that orchestration is all under the hood. What they've done a great job of is building a no-code interface that allows anyone, whether that's your mother, your friend, yourself, to orchestrate or to configure a flow of agents that can execute on your behalf, specifically for day-to-day tasks. And that's the last piece I'll say is, Maria, what they've done well is they've focused on a niche in a very specific type of person and a very specific type of problem they're trying to solve, right? For busy, probably technical or knowledge-based workers who have a lot of things going on, a lot of tabs open in their brain and in their devices, and decreasing that barrier to entry to make it as easy as possible. And they have a great near integration. So if you even want to do anything on chain, I would check out QuestFlow as well. So yeah, I hope that helps in some context there, Maria, of a success story of a project that is done really, really well.
Absolutely. Maybe we can find more use cases and maybe some content that people can pick through while they're preparing to submit for this hackathon. Where should they go?
Ooh, that is a great question. Well, it's a great action item for us. We should curate all these examples. We'll take that as a takeaway. But I think, if you're familiar with LangChain as a agent framework, that is what powers the ELIZA OS. That is what powers the Coinbase agent kit. And that also is what powers the Near AI agent kit as well. And so if you're looking for a large suite of examples, LangChain actually has an amazing index and database of not necessarily full stack agents, but specific workflows that you might think about or you might consider that your agent could do. And Joe, I'll find that link and I'll drop it in the chat so you're able to share it out. But I would definitely start with LangChain as a great example. They're an open source framework that a lot of the folks in decentralized AI have integrated or used in some way because of the number of tools that they have available that your agent could do on your behalf.
Thank you. And probably the last question for you, probably a little bit out of the blue. So we have these major accelerators, for example, like Y Combinator. They always have the suggestions on how to prepare for your pitch. They have this best practices. Would it make sense for a Web3 AI founder to look into those materials and copy those best practices? Or are we working in a completely different framework? Is it like non-traditional pitching?
It's a phenomenal question. I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of truth and foundational knowledge and perhaps open and free materials that are coming from Y Combinator and other comparable accelerators. But I would encourage everyone to think about where not only the world is today, but where the world is going, right? And I think Y Combinator probably has spent less time in the environment that we're in decentralized AI. And so I think it's a real opportunity to actually present and share what you believe the future of the world is going to be, while continuing to stay grounded in foundational frameworks, right? I think there's a lot of power in that, and ability to kind of take the best of what is and what has been done, but don't be afraid to bring your own perspective and swing big for what you believe the future can be, because ultimately, I reference LangChain, I reference QuestFlow. Those are founders who kind of took their version of what the world they envisioned and packaged it and brought it to life. So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to swing.
Thank you. Amazing advice. And if you have any questions, comments for Jarrod, if you want to pitch your idea really quick and get some live feedback, it's a great opportunity to do so. Please shoot your question in the comments. You can also send the links to your demos, to your project pages. Please do that so we could quickly review it and roast you live. Maybe not roast you, maybe let's just be soft and gentle with you. Okay, moving on to our next guest, Slava, the DevRel from Aurora, the hackathon judge. So Slava, I know that you will be reviewing dozens of submissions after this hackathon ends. What you would be looking forward to, like seeing in the project page when you would choose the winner of the Aurora bounty? What are your main criteria?
I guess the best word describing it is clarity. Actually, clarity is like the number one, because usually people who knows what they are doing, they're pretty clear with the descriptions and the goals and the code itself, and it makes it really easy to evaluate the project. Because from my perspective, I just read through, take a look at their video. That's the first stuff I do. The first impression is probably the video, because it's always the easiest way to jump in. So please shoot a nice demo for your project when you make a submission there, because the first thing judges usually look at, it's title, short description, video. And after that, you already have first impression. And if it's good, we can continue, like read through description in more detail, take a look at the code, maybe evaluate the code in terms of like if it was copy pasted from somewhere, or maybe it's like a project done in only like in a few days, and nothing substantial was done there, just maybe some like imitation of activity. So we just discard these projects right away. So like the next criteria, I may say it should be like technology and like the technological impact there, maybe around the idea. It shouldn't be actually like something very big in terms of like, I don't know, like research stuff, but it should be just a creative use or even just a useful use of the already existing tools at your hands. Like, I mean, near AI or virtual chains combined together, maybe exchange signatures and cross-contract calls. But the main thing is for this project to be also useful. So like probably I already have 3 criteria here, right? Like clarity, tag, the code, and usefulness. I believe if your project will just pursue 3 of these, it will be top notch, like one of the best projects. Usually it's pretty like it's pretty easy to get to the top places if you just will fulfill all of these points.
Do you think demo is better than the video, or maybe people need to do both?
That's an interesting question. Like usually I think more about the real demo right away, like if possible. That's the best because we already see how everything is working there in terms of idea. Like I don't really like the advertisement like videos are mostly probably for the investors, but as the hackathon judge, I will pay more attention to the project itself. Like it shouldn't be like very fancy in terms of the user interface, for example, or design, because it's just a hackathon, but it should do stuff and get things done. That's what I'm looking for in it. So like having a demo will be a really big plus comparing just like with the video having just a pitch presentation. So it's usually both of these things which should be combined, like just a short pitch, just a few slides explaining the goals of the project and why you were doing it, like what maybe struggles you faced while writing the code on creating it, maybe you pivoted it somehow. And after that, just a short demonstration of how it works in practice, and it should be enough.
Thank you for the advice. So in terms of demo, we're demoing quite a sophisticated product, which is AI agent. How would you envision, like if you were working on a hackathon project, what would you include in the demo? What kind of features?
Like we have 2 things here, and I believe like these are, the first one is the like demo of the user experience itself, like how it will look like from the user side, what benefits or tasks or problems user will solve with this product. That's the first part. And another part could be like a more in-depth review of what's going on like under the curtain. Like maybe you can show some developer logs on like AWS machine, or I mean the environment where the agent is running, just some outputs. Or if that agent will be just like, I don't know, like a chatting agent, maybe you will just show like the process of a dialogue, having a dialogue and tasks being covered by that agent, and that's it. So yeah, I believe just 2 things, like user side of stuff and development. Like, and if both of these covered, I believe it's more than enough for the hackathon.
I'm gonna share my screen for a second because I wanna pick your brain about this idea. So this video went viral on LinkedIn. Like this is not the only repost. I think a bunch of people reposted this. I don't know, Joe, if I can play it so people would hear the sound. So
I don't know if it's coming through audio-wise.
Yeah, but we can read. We still can read.
Yeah, so basically one AI agent is communicated with another AI assistant. And then they switch.
What is that, like the Gibberlink mod?
So now they communicate. They sound. If you don't have the sound in the stream, their communication sounds like this old days internet connection through the modem. It sounds like that. So they switch from human speech to a more efficient way of talking. And this demo was featured in so many posts that it actually went viral. And I think like a humble hackathon project all of a sudden woke up really, really famous. So in terms of demo, I think you can do like really impressive stuff with demoing your AI agent. Could you aim it for it to be viral and really cool? So like regular people, normies would be, oh wow, robots are actually taking over.
Yeah, I mean, the wow factor also plays a big role. Like, for example, I'm recalling one project from the previous hackathons where a guy, he was developing the prompt-based game where AI was generating the image, and then people were just proposing the best prompt for the same model to generate like another image, but which should be as similar as possible to the original one. Like it's really cool idea, simple, but it's fun to play. Like try just to get with your prompt as close as possible to the original image, and maybe earn like some tokens for the best guess there. I mean, it's really cool, and I still remember it. Just because of that like wow factor. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's pretty creative, like interesting. I would play this.
I know. For me, the most memorable demo I ever saw, it wasn't connected to the AI agents whatsoever. It was at one of the near cons, I think, a couple of years ago. A guy brought a Tupperware container and a bunch of hardware, and he built a POS terminal for paying with crypto. And although like the technical part of it was very questionable, the fact that he brought like a bunch of electronics in the Tupperware and you could actually take it and try to pay with it, and it was so quirky and cool. Just like in this video, we can actually see how it's working from the user perspective. I think aiming for wow factor, even in demo, not just in the pitch, would be super great. I think I have a question for Joe. Joe, you follow the Autumn Hackathons, I think yourself.
Sure.
Do you have any cool demos or pitches that you could recall?
Not off the top of my head. I would say though, as a builder, though, I think the preparation of that demo and pitch is sometimes insightful of how you finish the project. And I'll let me rephrase it a little bit here. Like I almost suggest to people, like if you have time, so today's Thursday to do the second, you have like 3 days, is think of your demo now and what it might look like, because sometimes you get to that point where you're ready to do your demo or record your video and you're like, oh wait a second, I forgot about this, I missed something, and so now that piece of it is not ready to show, and it could actually really derail that last part of it. And so there's a big difference of like building what you had planned, and then when you have to actually show somebody, sometimes some of those issues might come up. So now's a great time to start on that, and really make sure you hone your message. Also, I'll tie it into the other way. And speaking of Y Combinator, it can go really bad as well. I don't know if you guys saw the news recently, but like a Y Combinator project went under fire because they did a presentation basically like advocating like slavery. And and it was not a great demo. It pretty much showed like, hey, this is like software for a sweatshop, and it went sideways and it went really poorly, and it was not perceived well and anything. And so sometimes it's like, hey, maybe again that goes back to like, do your demo, think it through, like rewatch what you just did. Does it come off the wrong way? Because even at the Y Combinator level, these things happen. So make sure that like your own presentation feels comfortable. That's an extreme example, but like it happens, and it just happened in the news last week. So
Yeah, I think I was lucky to miss it, but it sounds really horrible. So yeah, as you mentioned, we are 3 days away from the submission deadline, and I think sometimes in this longer hackathons, not the best builder wins, the best project manager wins, because they keep everything in mind from the get-go. They know that they will have to deploy a repo. They know that they will have to do a demo. Ideally, there has to be the presentation, the project description, all. But we know for a fact, like if I would look at the demographic of the participants of this hackathon, a lot of people are working solo. For a lot of people, it's one of their first hackathons. So if we don't blame you for the lack of experience, and we will definitely look at technical excellence firsthand. But still, we have 3 days left. So I would say, like, what are 3 things that people could do throughout those 3 days to improve the quality of their submission and perform better in front of the judging? Starting with Slava. Slava, what would you suggest?
Like if you have only 3 days,
It's not an if, they do have only 3 days to improve.
Like I was once a participant in the hackathon when the whole hackathon was only 2 days. So like on another hand, like you still have the whole 3 days. So it's a benefit also. But overall, that's interesting question. I don't know. Like I'm kind of in a spiritual mood right now. So I was thinking about, like, you can sit and meditate for a while, like just like relax, don't over stress, like just switch to something else, like go to the beach, go to the forest, go for a walk, go to the gym, watch a nice movie and drink some cacao with cookies or something like that, just switch off for a moment. And maybe after that rest, some nice idea will come and you will know the next morning what you should do, because probably when like you already spend a lot of time like writing and creating something, sometimes you just need some, like, a bit of a rest and just switch off everything, and then the solution will come and some tips and tricks just come from the universe.
That's actually a great suggestion. It's actually informed by neurobiology. Our brains need space and time, and some rest from us trying to abuse it. The brains and just squeeze it to the last room.
Yeah, I believe the first time I learned this trick from the mathematician Poincaré. There was such great French mathematician. He done a lot of nice stuff, and he was doing this. He was like at the morning reading a lot of mathematical stuff, and then just switching off and going for a park walk, just watching ducks and nature. And after 3 or 4 hours, he was running back to the office because of overwhelming ideas which are just flowing in his head. And I believe the same, like it's the same creativity stuff David Lynch was using in his films, and I mean a lot of artists are still using it. Just
Newton was sitting under the tree when the apple fell on his head. I'm pretty sure he wasn't doing a lot of work when he was under the tree. So maybe, find an apple tree. That's a good suggestion. Touch the grass. Joe, what do you think? 3 days left. What to do?
Yeah, no, there's plenty of stuff, and I love the idea of like walking away from it a little bit, but also too, it's an AI agent hackathon, and if you are building using AI to write the actual code piece of it, you really can get so much more stuff done. And something like I've been advocating for a while now, since a lot of these AI tools have come out, is like the legwork is really in the planning and in the decision making of like what's the feature is going to be, like how's this all going to work together, what information do I need, and then the coding part, which maybe used to take longer for people, really can be done much faster and much more efficiently using AI tools. And so it's really critical in the planning. So I love the idea of like walking away from it, taking some time to really think things through, and when you feel ready, you could really hammer out a pretty solid project code wise in a few hours, but the legwork really needs to come at the front end of that. So you can definitely do it. There is definitely plenty of time going forward, but yeah, don't get caught up in how much time you have because of all these tools. Really think about like, okay, make sure I'm picking the right project that I want to spend that time doing.
Yeah, also I wanted to add, like, just don't worry if your project is not like in the best shape yet or not finished. It doesn't matter, actually, if the idea is good and like the tech job is there and you are really working on it. It won't matter much because we will see it and we will evaluate it accordingly. So don't worry, don't be like over controlling over you and your project. Like, just relax, everything is fine. If your idea is great, like, nothing will stop the project.
Definitely.
Thank you. Great suggestions. I would probably add one more that probably Jarrod would also second this one. Tell about your project to someone, because if you share your ideas themselves are worth not much. You cannot just grab someone's idea and go wrong with that. So implementation matters. But if you do share an idea, especially if you do that in a community of developers like we do in the near dev chat and Telegram, people will give you feedback. You might find out that a few teams are already working on that idea. You might find some synergy there, or maybe you can just find some inspiration how to build it even further, how to do storytelling about this. So probably my suggestion, if you had even a couple of hours left until the submission deadline, tell someone about it. You can tell us. You can tell us in the comments right now, and we would be happy to give our feedback. So yeah, I think we're in a good position to wish everyone good luck, and please go touch some grass and unplug for a little bit before you finalize your submission. And we're really looking forward to see what you guys build.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is it's an exciting time to try all this stuff. It costs you nothing to try, so get out there and build something.
Yeah, looking forward for your submissions.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Thank you to Jarrod for jumping on as well and providing all that. The links to everything that we went through today will be part of the YouTube comments. So if you go on to your DevHub's YouTube and rewatch this live stream, you will see everything there. But actually, real quick, couple of quick things. We have another session tomorrow. So if you're still stressed about your project, we have one of our DevRels from DevHub. Guillermo is going to come on here and do a debugging session. If you want to talk through things through, we want to shoot some ideas out. That is tomorrow at 4 p.m. UTC. So definitely come by and check that out as well. So there's plenty of time to still get direct feedback and help with everything. But until then, thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you next time. Thanks all.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.